We're about to dive into what might just be the most important 5 years of a person's life. And no, it's not their teens or their 20s. It's that tiny window from birth to age 5. We're going to uncover why this period isn't just about learning to play, it's about building the entire architecture of a human being's future. So let's just start with a number that should kind of stop you in your tracks: 90%. By the time a child even walks into a kindergarten classroom, 90% of their brain's development is already done. Let that sink in for a second. This isn't just some surprising little statistic. It's the reason this whole conversation matters so much. It changes everything. Okay, so when you hear a number like 90%, you realize pretty quickly we're not just talking about a head start, we're talking about a uniquely critical window of time. This is it. This is where we lay the foundation for absolutely everything that comes next. The best way to picture this is to think of a child's brain like a house being built. You can have these grand, beautiful plans for the upper floors, all the complex knowledge and skills they'll learn later. But none of that matters one bit if the foundation is shaky. Those first 5 years, that's when we're pouring the concrete and setting the footings. So what's actually physically happening inside that little brain? Well, it all comes down to something called neural connections. Every single thing a child experiences, seeing a bright new color, hearing a familiar voice, even just trying and failing to stack a block, it physically builds pathways in their brain. We're talking over 1 million new connections forming every single second. The brain is literally wiring itself up, creating this super fast network for all the thinking, feeling, and learning they will ever do. And that's why the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just about being ready for school. A strong foundation built in these early years has a direct line to long-term health, to happiness, and even to how a person shows up in the world as an adult. It's that fundamental. Which brings us to a really important question. If this period is so critical, what does a good foundation actually look like? Because it is so much more than just babysitting or keeping kids occupied. There's been this huge shift in how we understand early education. The old way of thinking about it was basically just childcare, right? A safe place to keep kids busy. But the modern, science-backed view is completely different. It's not about memorizing the ABCs. It's about learning how to think. It's not about just watching them. It's about actively guiding their curiosity to help build all those neural connections we were just talking about. So a really high-quality early childhood classroom is actually designed to build these specific skills. These are the real building blocks. I mean, think about it. When a kid gets frustrated with a puzzle and a teacher encourages them to try a different way, that's not just puzzle time. That's building resilience. When two kids have to figure out who gets the blue block, they're learning collaboration. This isn't just playing nice. It is foundational training for life. So we have to reframe how we see play. In the right environment, play is intentional. It's the serious work of being a child. Their job is to experiment, to fail, to negotiate, and to create. Every single game of make-believe is a practice run for solving real-world problems. It's literally how they practice for their future. Okay, so for this last part, let's connect all the dots. Let's look at how these tiny early experiences create this incredible domino effect that can truly shape an entire life. Let's just trace one single skill to see how this works. It starts with something so simple, a toddler learning how to share their blocks. It might seem small, but this is one of their very first lessons in negotiation, in empathy, in seeing things from someone else's point of view. Now, fast forward about 15 years. That simple act of sharing has evolved. It's turned into the ability to collaborate with a team on a complex project, to value other people's ideas, and to work toward a common goal. A skill that is absolutely essential for success in college and beyond. And finally, it becomes this. That early foundation of collaboration, the one that was literally built with toy blocks, becomes the bedrock to effective leadership in the workplace. That is the domino effect in action. One small foundational skill, just building on itself, year after year. So what's the real return on this early investment? Well, you can think of it as a clear 3-step pathway. First, you build the foundation, those core social and thinking skills. Second, you see the growth. Those skills naturally lead to better performance in school and a stronger sense of personal resilience. And third, you get the success. The result is an adult who is just more capable, more adaptable, and more ready to thrive in a really complex world. Which really leaves us with one final and I think crucial question. We've seen that the blueprint for a successful life is really drawn up in those first 5 years. So knowing that, the challenge for all of us has to be,
How can we make that foundation stronger? Not just for our own kids, but for the future that all of us are going to share.